Hi everyone. The purpose of this video is to give you a little further guidance on the discussion questions and kind of what I'm looking for with those. So remember, there are two types depending on the week. Each week you do have discussion questions and posts that are due. The first type are ones that are started by me. So I provide you guys a prompt and you still have to do two posts there. One with a direct response to my prompt and a second one for a response to someone else's response to my prompt. Again, the purpose of both of these types is really to encourage dialogue and discussion with you guys and to demonstrate to me that you're thinking really critically about the material. The second type of posts are ones that are started by you. So I don't give you any prompt at all. You guys start those. So after you've done all your readings and looked over all the references for the week, I want you guys to start a post that explains why you're thinking critically about this material, how you're applying it, and synthesizing the information, how you're making maybe suggestions to make it better. And I'll get in a little bit about that in just a second, about the different levels of kind of critical thinking that I'm looking for. And you also need two posts for that. So one is one that's started by you. And just so you know, you can't see anyone else's initial posts or responses until you post initially. And the purpose of this is that you guys are broken up into 3 to 4 groups per module. Your groups rotate every module. And that way, I remember when I had to do these, I'd have a really good idea. I would read everything and like, wow, this is really cool. I think this could be better, or we could think about it this way. And then I would go and someone else already posted about that. And I'd be like, darn, I can't post about that now. So I recognize that happens. And so that way that multiple people can have similar ideas, and that usually happens. So that way you don't get discouraged. And then once you post initially, you can see what everyone else has posted and read through them and decide then what you want to comment on further. But remember, every single one of your posts has to have direct reading or direct, not necessarily quotes, but reference to the reading and references from that week that include the name of the reading and reference that was used and the page number or numbers that were used. So kind of looking at this. So these are just the 6 different levels of critical thinking skills. And this can really help you kind of think about what I'm looking for when you're trying to get maximum points, or the 15 points across both posts. So the first kind of level of critical thinking skills is showing your knowledge and comprehension of the material. And these types of questions, if that's kind of the types of questions or posts that you're doing, can fall into 0 to 5 point territory depending on the quality of the work. These are things that again kind of regurgitate what was in the reading and references for the week, maybe retelling in your own words, restating, paraphrasing, being like, yes, I agree that the term mental retardation was bad. I'm glad we use intellectual disability now. Now, again, it's not that you can't comment on the importance of changing for the name, but really want to dig a little bit deeper as to what the rationale is, maybe providing suggestions when you don't agree with something. That's what's going to start to get you more points. Examples of 6 to 9 point territory across both posts. If your posts are really showing examples of things like, oh, this reminds me of this case I worked with, or this student, or this individual I worked with. Really things that help kind of illustrate or give further examples of that. Again, that information is really helpful. But again, unless you kind of dig a little deeper and synthesize the information a little further and maybe suggest alternative ways for handling a situation or a certain event, or evaluating how a certain service was provided, it's still, again, in the kind of the application and basic analysis kind of category. And then examples of posts or types of posts that get into 10 to 15 point territory are posts that really synthesize and evaluate the information. So combining ideas to form a new whole, or a whole new idea, a way of looking at something, or evaluating it where you develop opinions, judgment, or decisions. But again, making sure you provide a good rationale when you're making those opinions, judgment, and decisions that are based on information that's provided from the reading and references that week. This can be a really good guide when you're sitting down. Again, I really recommend reading through all the information first, making notes about, what's really interesting in me? What's interesting to me? What's making me think a little bit differently? how can I apply this to maybe some other material or my current chosen profession or the profession I want to go into or the way I work with within a certain situation. Um, how would you again, what would you change about a certain policy or way of thinking or something like that? Again, when you're using personal information either about yourself or someone else that you work with, just be careful that the details are limited to just what is pertinent. Again, I think that personal experiences and experiences working with this population absolutely make this course so much more interesting and really breathe life into it. But just be careful that it's not like I read this, oh, I'm appalled by this. This reminds me of this situation. Take it a step further. How could it be made better? How can you apply this information? What would you do differently in that situation based on the material you just read? Ask your classmates, what do they think? Make sure in your initial posts, the ones you guys start, there's a really well-defined question that you're asking or some type of prompt you're providing to your group to really foster discussion there. If you have any questions for this, just let me know. Honestly, the best way, sometimes I provide examples and non-examples, and it's a little bit helpful, but what's most helpful is just to do it. This first one, again, in the first couple, I provide you guys a lot of feedback of what you did well, how it could have been better, and really kind of, try to provide really specific rationale for the points that you received. Make sure you do 2 posts. If you don't do 2 posts and only do 1, then you kind of are out of the running for full point consideration. And also remember, try not to wait until the last minute. These are due Sunday, usually right at midnight. And if you wait until 10 and, it could be difficult then to decide what posts that you want to respond to. So I don't have hard, fast deadlines for the initial post. But if it becomes an issue where people are posting, late on Saturday and Sunday, I might kind of institute those just so everyone has ample time, depending on their schedules, to read through, once they initially post, read through everyone's responses and have folks to respond to. I'll jump in from time to time. And again, I really want these to be you guys and how you're interacting with each other, but I absolutely, will jump in and give my thoughts sometimes. And again, I'll provide you feedback in grading them. So use this. Again, take a stab at the first one and let me know if you have any questions, any specific questions that I can provide clarity on. Thanks, guys.